That's the hardest.
Yes, the survivor's guilt.
Yes, survivor's guilt, she's asking.
Yes. And actually, I'm going to switch orders because you mentioned in the choice that you were invited to speak at a conference in Germany and found yourself at Hitler's lair, the Eagle's Nest, and you actually slept in the bed that Göring slept in. Was this difficult for you? And did it have any healing impact for you?
So when you went to Germany to speak and you ended up being at Hitler's house and you slept in the bed that Göring slept in,
Yes.
was that difficult for you and was it healing at all?
I think it was a moment that I will never forget, to be actually there, to feel the feeling that I am here and they're not, gave me a little sense of wonderfully thanking God that I'm alive and I have 3 children. Today I have 5 grandchildren and 7 great-grandsons, and that's my revenge to Hitler. So I celebrated my 94th birthday talking to you and asking you to be a good mother to yourself, because you cannot give to anyone what you do not give. Self-love is self-care. It's not narcissistic.
That's really wonderful. That's really wonderful. In the choice, you mentioned that there's no hierarchy of suffering and that your suffering is no different than what others may suffer. What do you mean by this? And how is this possible after all you have experienced?
One of the things is important to know that the more you suffer, the stronger you become. You know, Auschwitz was hell. I'm not going to tell you anything other that I never knew exactly what's going to happen. 4 o'clock when we stood in line, we didn't know whether we end up in a gas chamber. And today is happening the same thing here with the COVID. We don't know. It's very hard to be in that limbo. And I think what was important is your attitude as it is today. The hierarchy of suffering is to be able to give yourself permission to revisit the places where you've been, relive that experience, and then you don't get stuck in there. You go through the valley of the shadow of death, but don't camp there. I refuse to be a victim. It's not my identity. It's not who I am. It's what was done to me. And there is a big difference. I refuse to be a victim. I was victimized. It's not who I am. It's what was done to me. And I know in a bigger sense, I am very, very, very proud to be a Jew because my ancestors were slaves. They also were walking with Moses, I understand, more than 40 years. And guess what? They never gave up. And you and I carry that blood. We don't get so easily discouraged. And we keep finding something good in everything.
Yes, that's so very interesting that you talk about the blood of our forefathers and foremothers and how it runs in all of us. It runs deep in all of us. That's so beautiful.
Thank you for being here. It's Sunday morning. You could read the romance novels and eat vanva. I mean, you could, and you're here talking to a mom and a grandma and someone who's very committed to do everything to be sure that your children, grandchildren will never experience.
That is, well, we appreciate that. And we are committed women to learning about your story and to really bringing our traditions and our strength forward. So we really appreciate that. Let's see. How did your education and work in healing others help you take steps to heal yourself?
How did your education and healing others help you to take steps in healing yourself?
I think what is the best thing being Jewish, that I talk to myself and I listen to my inner voice. And I ask myself questions like, is this the best you can do? You know, maybe I can look at things from a different perspective. Maybe I can look at Auschwitz as an opportunity for me to discover that life is from inside out and not to wait for somebody to come and take care of me and liberate me, that I have not too much dependency or too much independency, but to have interdependency, that I can be I and Rachel can be Rachel. By the way, I do have a granddaughter and her name is Rachel, and I call her Rachel K. In Hungary, we add a little K-E, like Chiquitita, you know, in Hungary we say Rachel K, yeah, or Zsuzsika, and it's a K-A, yes.
That's really just such a beautiful point you make about interdependence on each other, but not too dependent or too independent.
Right, and to empower each other without differences.
Yes, yes,
There'll
yes.
never be another you. There'll never ever be a million years before or after, never be another you. That's very exciting. I
You're
like
right,
to
that's
turn,
true.
I like to turn anxiety into excitement.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And we're each on our own mission and journey to be the best we can be in this world.
Just how you look at things.
Yes.
Not what
yes.
happens, it's what you do with it. So
Yes.
love is not what you feel, love is what you do. And children don't do what we say, children do what they see. So the best thing for your child is a happy marriage.
Yes, that is true. That's good. It's a beautiful blessing. It actually reminds me that my son used to walk around in our house when he was teeny tiny, and he would be twirling his hair, because I would twirl my hair when I get nervous, and he would order mocha from Starbucks. That's what he would do when he was playing. Hi, I'm Rachel, and can I have a mocha? So he was. So it made me think a little bit more about what I was modeling, but they do watch. They do watch. What do you think makes some people able to emerge from trauma and others unable to?
What do you think makes some people able to emerge from trauma and others unable to emerge from trauma?
And there is no such thing in my vocabulary as unable. I don't think I can go out and start flying. I don't have any wings. But most of the things what we think we cannot do is not true. We can if we want to. And the word willing is very good. When I'm willing to be willing to do the same thing and look at the same thing from a different perspective, I am many times referred to as being an ophthalmologist, that I guide you to look at the same thing from a different perspective. And that's why I call Auschwitz an opportunity for me to discover my inner resources.
And so if you have, let's say you're working with a client or a patient who feels that they're unable to emerge, what would you say to them? Or what do you suggest? What tools?
What would you say to a client that feels that they're unable to emerge?
I just say, tell me more. Because I think the longer I listen, people will tell me what is really ailing them, And chances are it's not what's going on today, that we trigger in each other feelings that we've been carrying with us for a long, long time, and it doesn't belong to what is happening today. It belongs to our family of origin.
So you think that people should focus more on what's happening currently and not dwell
Right.
too much on what the past?
It's very good to acknowledge that we have a tendency to use defense mechanisms like denial, or minimization. It wasn't such a big thing. Other people suffered more. So denial, delusion, but most of all, many times we just keep running away from the past. And I've done that. Unfortunately, today I wouldn't do that. I didn't tell my children I was in Auschwitz. I didn't want them to be different. I wanted to be a Yankee Doodle dandy like you. And but I think what you need to tell ourselves about guilt, because guilt and love does not coexist, we need to say to ourselves, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done things very differently. I want you to know that my parents had tickets to come to America,
Wow.
and they took it with them to Auschwitz. We didn't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
But my curiosity was very, very good then, and my curiosity is still working very well. I always want to know what's going to happen next.
Yes. Yes. And it seems that curiosity is a really important tool for thriving, just being curious about different ways to think about things and
I
not getting
wish I
stuck in
was.
one's way.
I wish I was there with you. I see a big garage door. I don't know where you are.
I know,
but
I know. Yes, that's the door to the to one of our parking lots. But yes, we wish you were here with us too. You would get a lot of big hugs from a lot of happy ladies.
Are you at the temple? Are you at
What's
the
that?
temple?
We are in our
Are
temple.
you
Yes, we are. We're in our social
Yes.
hall of our temple. Yes. And if you
Social
can
hall of-
picture it, it's a beautiful, beautiful synagogue. A lot of the decor is like Jerusalem, and it's set in the woods. It's set beautifully in the woods. Yes.
It's set in the woods there, synagogue. It's beautiful.
Oh, you know what? We will. So we'll turn it around so you can see everybody.
Oh, they're going to turn it around so you can see them.
oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
That way.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom. I wish I was there with you to hug you and let you know that women are very good survivors. They don't give up so fast. If I can get in the front door, I'm going to try the side window.
Yes. You're definitely describing our sisterhood very well. We don't take no for an answer very easily. Let's see.
I'm sorry, I'm coughing
had
this
to make-
morning.
What'd you say, Dr. Eger? You had to make many choices in your life, beginning with your first day in Auschwitz and going through your recent intestinal illness. Is there one choice you made which stands out as a turning point in your life? Do you use similar skills at these key moments? And does it get any easier?
So you've had to make choices since you entered Auschwitz to even up to your illness where you were in the hospital recently. Are there certain skills that are more effective than others and that you continue to use? And what was the most important choice that you can think of that you've made in your life?
I think the most important choice I made, the way I decided to breathe. That I take in the kind of feelings that gave me more strength to tell myself it's temporary. I don't like it, it's inconvenient, and it's not but. And give me the but. I'll give you an and. It's temporary, and I can survive it. Even though I was told every day, the only way I will get out of here is as a corpse. I heard it every day, and I said to myself, that's what you think. But I know that God carries me through this experience. Where was God? God was with me, within me, knowing that I'm not alone. So today I do everything what's humanly possible because I know that I survived for a purpose. To talk to you this morning and letting you know that every moment is precious. Don't take anything for granted. I never throw out any food. I pack it up, I bring it home, I eat up your food, and your leftovers. I have a hard time throwing out a piece of bread.
Yes. I wish you were with us. We could give you a lot of leftovers.
I was told that there is a new bakery and they have a kosher challah. So today I'm gonna go and get a kosher challah on Sunday because they were closed yesterday. My mother made the most beautiful challah. It was like an art piece. Really, I can see her amazingly making that an beautiful challah every Friday. My mother was an amazing, amazing cook. She even had a goose. She had a goose upstairs in a building that we were in, and she would put the goose down in her lap and feed it corn. So we would have a sick liver. That means it is bigger. And then she would cook it and slice it with onions. If I go to Hungary, that's the first thing I have in the hotel. I ask for goose liver.
Liver and onions.
Yes.
Yum. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
That's all we talked about in Auschwitz was food.
Yes. I think that's a
Maslow-
universal Jewish thing.
Yeah, Abraham Maslow is very true about the hierarchy of needs. And when you're hungry, that's all you talk about is food. How much paprika you put in a chicken paprika, how many caraway seeds you put in your soup. Yesterday, someone brought me mushroom soup with barley, and my mother used to make that. It's delicious. It's delicious. Make it for the women.
Yes.
and-
Yes, we have some wonderful cooks here today, so that I'm sure we can do that. Not me, but some other ladies. You discussed your life also in your book after the Holocaust, and
Yes.
yes, and your family and your children. What were the key ways that your experience during the war shaped you and your family?
You know, people ask me, did you love your husband? And this is what my answer is. I was very skinny. I was very lonely. And most of all, I was very hungry. And I met this guy who bought me salami, Hungarian salami. So I married him, you know. So you see, we grieve over not what happened, but what didn't happen. So when my granddaughter was asking me to buy her a dress so she can go to a dance in her school, I did buy her a beautiful Laura Ashley, kind of an original, because my father was a tailor who became a couturier and told me, when I grow up, I'll be the best dressed girl in town. Okay, so yes, here I am with an Escada scarf.
Escada.
But you know what happened? I never understand the word understand. I came home and all of a sudden I was crying and I didn't understand what am I crying about. I just bought my granddaughter a beautiful dress so she could dress up and go to her dance. I realized that we don't grieve over what happened, we grieve over what didn't happen. I cried because I never went to a dance. You see, I think it's not good to run away from the past. There is one thing we cannot change is the past. And I think it's the work that I do is what I lived. I say what I lived. And Auschwitz was not a recovery, but discovery. Discovering my inner strength in my kishka and in my wonderful part in me. I call it, the sixth sense, and to be able to really listen to your inner voices because your spirit is talking to you. So that when I tell that to people, they say, you divorced your husband and you went back to him. And my answer is, I married him as a child. The second time, I was a woman to a man.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
So I think marriage is for adults, and to be able to hopefully tell your children to become emotionally and financially independent before she's even thinking about marriage. So I believe in education. I beg children not to smoke pot. I beg them not to mess with their brains. I do a little preaching, but it's really teaching. So when they're going to be 94 like I am, they would live in the present and think about their thinking. Because what you think about is going to bring the feelings. It's very important to look at your inner self and see where you are. There is no such thing as a problem. There is a challenge. There is no such thing as a midlife crisis. There is a midlife transition. And I hope that you can look at your life today. I hope to be your guide, as God was to me a guide, telling me that I don't have to like it. It's very, very, very hard.
Yes.
But if you have a good attitude, every day you can say to yourself, which I did, if I survive today, tomorrow I'll be free. Because I had a boyfriend who told me I had beautiful eyes and beautiful hands, and we were going to go to Palestine. We were big, big, big Zionists. We're going to fight in Palestine. We were very militant. Unfortunately, he died a day before liberation. He was killed. So people are talking about doing a movie, and I hope that we can, to honor my boyfriend, that we were 16 and having a goal and how we're going to keep Judaism alive.
Wow, it's beautifully stated. Thank you. That's so beautiful. You talk about acknowledging the pain or the reality of your experiences, and then being able to move forward with optimism and every day and feel grateful for every day. What do you do each day to maintain this optimism and perspective? And what are your go-to tools that you use?
I love the word gratitude. I am very, very grateful. Every morning I get up, I look outside, and I'm just so happy to be alive. And most of all, that I'm here to let people know what happens when good people do bad things. Because we're not born with hate. I don't think we're born to judge each other. We learn it. We learn the us and them mentality. I remember when my daughter came home and she wasn't invited to a party, a birthday party. And what did I do? I said, we minimize it, right? That's what I did. I said, oh, honey, that's not no problem at all. I just made a 7-layer chocolate cake, and you know what? I'm going to make you a chocolate milkshake. And food was my answer for everything. That's what I did. I dragged her to the kitchen, completely denying her tears. Today, I wouldn't do that. I think you need to join people and keep their feelings company. And don't ask people, how are you? That's the stupidest thing you can do. You can just say, geez, good to see you, I missed you. I don't ever ask my patients, how are you?
That is the truth. I think it's
Remember
nice to
in
ask
my book, in my book, I tell you that one morning a mother came in and we cried together because the daughter was dying. And the next hour, the same tears from a woman whose Cadillac came in, and it was not the exact color that she ordered. See, so do you think I have to tell her, you should have been here an hour ago, you stupid? No. Yeah. If the feeling is a feeling, I hope you can give yourself permission to feel any feeling. What you do with anger, you either vent it, children blame. And while you blame, you know you're still a child, no matter how old you are. You either suppress it, which I did. I never told the children I was in Auschwitz until I read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And that's why my book, The Choice, is the female voice of Viktor Frankl. So I think it is very important to think about your thinking and pay attention what you're focusing on, so that will get you closer to the arrow that you follow. And I hope you do have an arrow that you follow, because that way you have a goal, and a goal is good to have. You know, you can call it an arrow that you follow. Because when I came to America, I came from Bremenhaven, Germany, to New York. But when we passed the English Channel, it was very, very, very bad storm. But that I saw the skipper taking that boat. I don't know where he was going, but then he came back because he knew that we're not going to China, we're going from Germany to New York. So I hope you have a goal, and maybe you can start writing your book. Guess what? Every day, you say to yourself, I have a lot to say. And once upon a time, there was a little girl, Rachel. And maybe Rachel was the firstborn child. When firstborns marry, you have two bosses. They have a power struggle. Are you a right fighter? I don't know. The middle children are peacemaker.
That's me, middle child.
That's
They
her.
want, and you're gonna be called Kissinger. You want everybody to get along with everyone. The youngest one is the most interesting one, a charming manipulator. Anybody is the youngest child in here, I'm sure. I know I used to ask money from my father when he was playing billiards, and he would bring home little petite little cakes for me. But I know when I asked him for money before his croonies, he was always very generous with me. My mother was much smarter than that, and I couldn't get away with my mother what I can get away with my father, being a charming manipulator.
Yes, that's a very familiar experience. I am going to shift to some questions from our audience.
A question from the audience now. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, so sorry. Most people would question God after going through a challenging experience, as you did, and that they might not be able to recover from. How would you help these people as they struggle with their belief in God?
I never ask people, how can I help you? Okay, I'm not Humpty Dumpty. I'm not going to put you back together again. But I do ask, how can I be useful to you? Because it's not my life, it's your life. And you may want to go back to school. Because when I was with my supervisor, when I was 40, he said to me, you got to go get a PhD. And I said, it's impossible. By the time I get a PhD, I'll be 50 or 60. And he said to me, you'll be 60 anyway. And I think the best answer I can give you. Yeah, the chronological age I cannot possibly ever change, but I don't pay attention to that. It's going to happen anyway. So go back to school and maybe you ask a professor, can I just sit in your class? I really don't need any credits right now. And
But the question was about how you help people who are having problems with their faith when
Yes.
they've experienced horrible
you're
things.
ahead of me.
Okay, sorry.
You're ahead of Thank you very much. Yes. Each of us have a time in our lives when we wonder. And when I was liberated, they put me in a caste. And when I realized that while I was in the concentration camp, I had hope that I'm going to see my parents again. I had hope that I'm going to see my boyfriend again. And then reality hit me. So when I got up, I didn't say what. I said, what for? And this is that existential vacuum. It's not clinical depression that we fall into when we don't have any purpose in our lives. But you see, just remember, you just do what's humanly possible because you were here for a purpose. You may be a mother, but that's not who you are. You're a human being who's doing mothering, but it's not your identity. See, I'm a mother of 3, a grandmother of 5, and 7 great grandsons. No daughter, no granddaughter, and I have twins now that are gonna come after we're done here, and I'm just so grateful to live longer and have more and more children coming to our wonderful family. Yes.
That's really beautiful.
I have a son who was born after 2 beautiful girls, and my husband was so happy because he's carrying the name of Rabbi Akiva Eger. When you go to Israel, there is such a street in Jerusalem. I saw it. What is important for me to tell you that unfortunately my son did not grow the same way as my daughters did. He didn't sit up in time. He didn't stand up, walk. When he was 4 years old in 1960, 5 doctors told me in Texas to go to Baltimore and go to Johns Hopkins and see a Dr. Clark, a neurologist. And I did that, and Dr. Clark said to me, I'm going to take your son for a week and come back. And when I came back, he sat me down and he said, your doctors, whatever they told you, I know that they told you that he'll grow up and go to school for retarded children. We don't use that word anymore. And and he's going to do and be what you going to do. And I was just shaking. He said he's going to need speech therapy, occupational therapist. He had cerebral palsy that will keep him behind, but he's going to do everything everyone else does. It's going to take him longer to get there. And how much do I owe you? $10? I came home, I dropped out of school. My son John graduated as a top 10 student from the University of Texas. See, that's what we survivors are all about. Don't never give up, never give up. It may take longer to get there. So I know that the people who are there this morning may realize that the emptiness syndrome is no such thing. I was so happy when my kids went to college. I was able to study more, have more time, and I gave them wings and
Yes.
let them fly. So
Yes.
more dependency, the more depression.
Right. Thank you. I wanted to shift gears just a little bit to talk about the role that dancing had in your surviving the Holocaust. And also if you could tell us a little bit about it looks like a sculpture of a dancer that's in your home.
Yes, thank you very much about dancing, because my mother took me to a wonderful ballet class, and I still can see that beautiful man picking me up and telling me that God built me in such a way that all ecstasy in life comes from inside out. But I didn't even know the word ecstasy or what it means. I didn't know that at all. But in Auschwitz, oh, I thought that's what he meant, ecstasy. Get life from inside out, that we're born alone, and what we do with our lives. And so finally I understood what my ballet master told me about having life and live life to the fullest.
Wow, it's really an incredible blessing that you had that experience before you went into Auschwitz.
Don't say it's not over, it's never
No.
over. We're born alone, and hopefully, I was very ill 3 years ago, and I wrote to my daughter, I want to die happy. And still has that piece of paper. So I am so happy, Rachel, that you're interviewing me. I think you have an excellent sense of humor too, and I really enjoy talking to you.
I enjoy talking to you too. And I have to say that humor for me, is one of my coping mechanisms for sure. It definitely is. I'm just looking briefly at a couple of questions. Okay, here's a lovely question. What do you mean when you say love is what you do?
Yes,
I guess instead of what you
love is
say.
not what you feel, it's what you do. And I think that you're married.
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
So your husband is the role model, the way he treats his children's mother, and that's you. So it's not what you feel, it's what you do. Does he bring you breakfast in bed Saturday morning? I don't know, but you can really maybe 1 week you and 1 week him, but that the children see their father taking care of their precious mother. So I like to make rules. I like to write a constitution for a family that every behavior has a consequence, not punishment. No punishment. I don't know if you have a teenager, but the book is called Get Out of My Life, but first, would you take me and Cheryl to the mall? That's a good one.
I have boys, so they didn't want to go to the mall, but my
The boys-
sister, who has a daughter, says that's exactly how it is. Yes.
The boys adore their mother.
Yes. That is
The
for sure.
boys adore their mother.
Yes.
So
And their father.
it's going to affect the way they relate to girls.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yes.
you're a wonderful role model. Yes.
Yes, I hope so. Okay. I'm
So
looking
when
at-
your husband comes home, don't ask how are you and don't say why don't you. We mothers ask questions and give advice.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Be a woman to a man. Yes.
In the gift, you give us so many valuable lessons about coping with fear and despair. What are your key recommendations for all of us to keep meaning and productivity and positive thinking in our lives? And how does this relate to the pandemic? Do you have thoughts and recommendations related to the pandemic?
In the gift, there are so many tools. And she said, what do you recommend for tools to use every day and with the pandemic?
Well, I tell people, don't call me shrink, call me stretch. And what I like you to do is stretch your comfort zone. And anything that appeals to you, just welcome it and going to maybe require a different response, not react. When you react, you don't think. And the other day I turned the TV on and there was a movie called The Karate Kid. Oh, it was a wonderful movie. I highly recommend it to everyone. How you look at everything as an opportunity for an opportunity. That you don't go back and do the same thing because Albert Einstein told us if you do that, that's the definition of insanity.
Yes.
So I think that's very important, not to do the same thing over and over again, but wondering how can you maybe do things differently. Maybe you want to come in the side door instead of the front door, just something different, not better or worse, something different and stretch your comfort zone.
Wow, that's really beautiful said. Beautifully said. Thank you. Can you talk about your work with soldiers and with helping them cope with their PTSD and their trauma?
Yes, I think one thing we do in our profession, we label people very quickly, and I really don't think that's a good idea. Post-traumatic stress is not a disorder. It's an opportunity to learn how we can respond rather than react, and not to label people anything other than post-traumatic stress growth. That we grow because we made it, we're here. So the question is not why me, but what now?
Yes.
Why is a past-oriented word a problem-oriented word? What is in the present and how is a solution-oriented word? How will I maybe next time cope with this and this and that? That you become your own very good, kind counselor with you. I don't do the same thing over and over again. I meet people where they are, but treat them as if they were or they capable of becoming, because I have yet to arrive myself at 94. I still climb that mountain and I slip and climb, and I never stop climbing.
Wow.
Yes. I was just in Arizona in the wonderful hotel with the man who invited people from all over the country, and I was one of them. A private plane coming to pick me up, and it was really a wonderful experience in Arizona. Arizona, the man who owns Amazon, Dr. Bezos. I don't know if you can invite him to lecture in your temple, but he's a beautiful man, and he invited people who care about others. And that's what we had to do in Auschwitz. We had to go beyond the me, and the I, and I, and I. All we had was each other then, and all we have is each other now. So I know that you are a very good role model. Sunday morning, that here you are, and celebrating every moment, because if you leave this room, no one can ever replace you. There'll never, ever be another you. You're beautiful just the way you are. There'll never, ever be another you. So what I like you to do is picture a little girl that is crying and wanting a very, very loving mom. And I want you to show up for her and tell her you're never gonna see me leaving you ever. Children need to know that the world is a safe place. That's very important for a child to know. But you don't also allow the tail rule the dog. So you have to negotiate and compromise in your family, because if you don't have rules, you're going to have chaos. You told me, no, I didn't. Write the Constitution, sign it, and notarize it. So there you have things. I like to write things down that you learn to negotiate and compromise, and then you get together, and then you have the 10 Commandments, and then you see how you can make some changes. But there is no punishment, there is consequence in the family.
So I know we're coming to the close of our wonderful, precious time that we've had with you. We're so grateful.
Thank you, Rachel.
I wonder if there is kind of final advice or parting words or suggestions that you would have for all of us to take forward with us.
Parting words, final suggestions.
How is your oldest person this morning in your beautiful temple?
How old is the eldest in your temple?
In our temple, right now.
Or this morning, with you.
We have Miss Barbara, who inspires us all the time.
I want you to have someone each time instead of me, because that way you're going to be a more compassionate listener, that you can value that each person looks at the same thing from a different perspective. I think somebody is running around and has a beard. Is that the rabbi? No. I don't know.
Or
But
beard. No, it's probably a mask. Probably a mask.
a mask, okay. Well, we all wear masks in many forms and many ways, but I am so happy that I got up early. I went to bed early last night because I had to change the clock, and I'm ready to see my grandson and the twins, and hopefully give them some lox and bagels. Okay.
That sounds perfect. We are so very thankful and privileged
Yeah,
to.
I love you. I love you so much. Shalom. I love the Chabad because you are all over the world. I'm going to call you the ambassador for peace and goodwill. I'm totally in love with you, and keep on showing up. You're beautiful. Thank you very, very much for being there, showing up. You're a woman of strength. You're not a strong woman. You are a woman of strength. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Boker Tov. Yes, ladies, please don't leave yet, for several reasons. The first is, yes, that we need to let religious school dismiss, so we want to leave space for that. And we also are going to have some raffles, right, Lori? Did everybody get a ticket? I'm gonna turn it over to Sharon now, so I can just read. Everybody have a raffle ticket. Everyone take out your raffle tickets? All right, everybody. Can everyone hear me? Everybody take out your raffle tickets. Yeah. Even those of you on Zoom, you should have raffle tickets if you picked up bags from the synagogue. Okay, the first ticket number is 647038. Spickler? Okay, second number is 647051. Linda Posto. Linda? Okay, that's you. Come on up. Yeah. Okay, the next one is 647002. I think this might be somebody on Zoom. 647002. Okay, we're gonna move on. Maybe that person dropped off. Six, 4, 7, 0, 6, 6.
Donna. Okay. 647021. I think this is somebody on Zoom. Okay, how about 647012? This is also somebody on Zoom. Okay, 647006. And this is also someone on Zoom. Or it was supposed to be someone on Zoom. All right. Moving on. 647053. And Andrea has one of the Zoom. Okay, so one of them. No, hold on. And this is Zoom. Okay, which one is it? Andrea Carp on Zoom. Okay, I think this one is also Zoom. 647005. 005. This is on Zoom. Okay. 647033. I think this is somebody here. 647033. Somebody left. Okay. 647055. That's you, Vivi. Vivi. Centerpiece. All right, moving on. 647037. All right. You get to pick one of the centerpieces. There's one here. Is there just, there's two, the one, two, and one there. Oh, and one over. So I think we might have two more. Six, 47024. This is Audrey. Is she still here? Oh. Do we have two more, Lori? Six, 47041. This is Arlene. Is she still here? No, it says Arlene Carpa. 041. How many more do we have, Lori? Okay, so we have three. So, and Ashley, you already have yours. Ashley, you have yours. Okay. How about 647043? Right. Come on and pick out your centerpiece. I think we have two more. Hold tight, everybody. 647043. 043. 647-068. This is, oh, there you go. Thank you. And I think we have one more. Hang tight, everybody. We have some thank yous also. 647-016. Is that you, Diane? All right. Okay. I'll give that one to Diane. I picked it soon. Yeah, I'll drop it. Okay. Before everybody leaves, we want to thank two key people for whom their efforts on this brunch, we could not have had this beautiful, well-organized, amazing, meaningful brunch. So first, of course, Lori Marks. You are the passion. And the food, the beautiful, amazing, tasteful food could not have happened without Randy. You're so Thank you all for coming. We really hope you enjoyed the program. One sec, Ashley has an announcement.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to meet all of you in person. I just wanted to remind everyone to check the Garrett because we do have some really great events coming up. In 2 weeks, we have a needlepoint artist that will be presenting on Zoom. There's also a movie night this coming Thursday. And please email me about signing up for slots for a Hanukkah bake-off Thursday, December 2nd. We're opening up the kitchens. And we want everyone to form teams, and we're gonna feed everyone the foods that we provide from this bake-off on Friday at the Shabbatnika party. So we'll have ballots for most flavor, most best presentation, etc. And it should be a really fun night. So we're hoping to get everyone back in action in the synagogue, and I look forward to seeing you all at further events.
A team for GCC, we'll get on that. I just, it's like crazy. Anyway,
too.